You know, most of the world's on Teams. But it's
Welcome to September's meeting. Oh, there we go. All right. I'm calling it to order. I was using my outside voice. Well, welcome everyone to the September meeting, Board of Directors meeting. I will have Pat go ahead and call the roll.
Morning, everyone. City of Avondale, Councilmember Maxine White.
Here.
City of Buckeye, Vice Mayor Clay Goodman.
Present.
City of Chandler, Vice Mayor O.D. Harris.
Here.
City of El Mirage, Councilmember Monica Dorsey. Town of Fountain Hills, Councilmember Peggy McMahon. Here. Town of Gilbert, Mayor Bridget Peterson. Here. City of Glendale, Councilmember Lauren Tomlichoff. Here. City of Goodyear, Vice Mayor Laura Kano.
Here.
Maricopa County Chairman of the Board Jack Sellers. City of Mesa, Vice Mayor Francisco Heredia.
Here.
City of Peoria, Vice Mayor John Edwards. City of Phoenix, Councilmember Laura Pastor. We are expecting her to join online today. Town of Queen Creek, Councilmember Jeff Brown. City of Scottsdale, Vice Mayor Kathy Littlefield.
Here. This is
City of
Jennifer.
City of Surprise, Councilmember Allie Klein.
Here.
City of Tempe, Councilmember Jennifer Adams.
Here.
City of Tolleson, Councilmember Jimmy Davis.
Here.
Town of Wickenburg, Mayor Rui Pereira.
Here.
And Town of Youngtown, Mayor Michael LaVault.
Yes, Pat, I'm here.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Proceed.
Thank you, Pat, for the roll call. We have a quorum. We'll convene the meeting. Those that are, just a few housekeeping rules. Online, if you raise your hand or type your comment inside of the comment chat, we will make sure that you are recognized and acknowledged. And then to my colleagues to my left and right, you guys know what the drill is. Just get my attention. We're going to start with public comments. We're going to have, for public comments, is 3 minutes. This will provide an opportunity for individuals to address the committee on non-agenda items and all action agenda items for the joint RPTA and meeting and agendas. Up to 3 minutes will be provided for each speaker unless I, the chair, allow more than that time. For a total of 15 minutes for the speakers. Today we have 2 people. We have 2 speaker cards. So at this time, I'll call up Ms. Candace to come and share with the committee thoughts. And remember, we can't respond, so you have 3 minutes.
Morning. Do I just go now? I'm here. I am one of your disabled passengers. I came because about a week ago, I asked for a bus to be lowered for me, and a bus driver did not want to do that, closed the doors in my face and pulled off. This is something that happens quite often, not where I'm left, but where drivers just don't want to do their job. I've been here before for the same issue. Nothing has changed. So I was trying to figure out what ADA means and who sets that rule or tone. I know it's a federal law. It doesn't seem to faze anyone at Valley Metro. So I did a deep dive and I tried calling Valley Metro to find out how this works. No one seems to know. They want to send me to 44th and Washington Mobility Center. That has nothing to do with it. I called this office and I was transferred to Justin Sheldon, the manager of Accessible Transit Services. He called me back. We spoke. He told me Tom Young, who's the deputy chief of paratransit and bus, would be calling me back because he would be in a meeting with him. This was something that took place on Monday, September 16th. I never heard back from Mr. Young. Instead, I got a call from a subordinate at Keolis named Andrea, who's a customer service manager, who was unable to provide me with any further information. This is quite disappointing that no one here seems to know what to do. I got a call from the general manager at Keolis, Chris Langmeyer. He said, well, we don't know. We get our instruction from Valley Metro. So it's just a round robin thing. I don't know who's in charge of ADA compliance or how that works, but that's why I came down here to find out. Since I couldn't get any answers from Valley Metro, I ended up calling Washington DC to figure out how ADA even started. And I understand it falls under the Equal Employment Opportunity Center, which is underneath the looming umbrella of the US Department of Labor. It is near impossible to get anyone in the District of Columbia to pick up a phone or return a call. So I hope me coming here today will render an answer for me by the end of this meeting on who I need to contact, because this is extremely frustrating for me. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm not asking for anything other than to be able to take the bus like anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, she's gonna be taken care of. Let's go ahead and go to Mr. John Hines. You have 3 minutes. And remember, our committee cannot respond to you.
6 seconds left in the timer. Okay, one. Does it start automatically? Okay, wait for the green light. Good traffic procedure. Okay, it's counting up, but the green light still is not. Ah, there we go. Okay, good morning. My name is John Hines. I'm a Phoenix native. I appreciate this opportunity to address the board and give you a few comments. All I have are comments. I know you can't respond. Comment number one, I didn't find out there was going to be a change in the fare schedule procedure until I got my March water bill with the city of Phoenix, and their flyer said something about things are going to be changing. Well, I was concerned, and on May 20th, I wrote a letter to the CEO, at least who I thought was the CEO of Valley Metro. On July 10th, I hadn't gotten a response or a follow-up letter. I still never got a response. So last week I came down here, floor above, spoke to someone there. She said the board was meeting here today at 11:30. So thank goodness I got here early. Anyway, and at that point, I filled out a comment card, I guess, with the 2 letters. And I'm disappointed no one still has gotten back to me, although I gave my phone number. I don't know how the board arrived at its decision to upgrade, if that's the right word, our fare system. I don't know if you had any citizen input. I never saw any notices. There were none in any of the buses I rode that you were going to do this. I would have been glad to give citizen input, but I didn't. And the reason I wrote the letter is because I happened to be visiting in Los Angeles when they also had a change in fare system. And I experienced numerous problems. And that was my letter to the CEO about these problems that that occurred there, and I hope it would not occur here. So overall, I'm just generally disappointed, and those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. That will conclude our public comment session. We'll go next to our CEO report. Jessica, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the board. We have a number of items we'd like to provide you with updates on this morning. The first being one of those items that are certainly top of mind for those of us who work in public service around the transportation space across Maricopa County. As you know, as a public agency, Valley Metro and our staff are not permitted to become involved in the Prop 479 campaign, otherwise known as Connect Maricopa, nor can we advise the public on how to vote on this particular measure. What we can do is inform, engage the public about the important role that Valley Metro and the mobility services that we deliver provide to the community. That being said, I would like to share with you, and I shared this via email, I think it was last week or the week before, recent polling data published by Noble Predictive Insights. And this data really found a continued trend with respect to what we've seen over the last year or so regarding support for the renewal of Proposition 479, formerly known, or our current measure is known as Prop 400, the half-cent sales tax funding transportation projects and services across Maricopa County. We have seen voter support, relatively strong voter support for Prop 479 for more than a year. And notably, we have not seen a change in opposition to this particular measure. Today, about 56% of Republicans support renewal of Prop 400 via approval of Prop 479, with 73% of Democratic support, 62% of independent support, and about 18% opposition. This is a sample, of course, and like any polling sample, it does include a confidence interval, this one about plus or minus 4%. So even within that confidence interval, we're feeling very optimistic about the passage of Prop 479, and that trends pretty consistently with recent polls. So this one was August 2024, 64% approval. May 2024, 68% approval, and in July 2023, 23% approval. As a reminder, this measure requires a simple majority, so 50% plus one to pass. I know we're all watching closely. Should we receive any additional information on polling or other relevant content, we will be sure to pass that on to the board. Fair technology. Speaking of fair technology, I want to give you an update on the Fair Technology Modernization Project as we're really nearing the last lap of this multi-year effort. We now have a new version of the Valley Metro app, and that's the same app that you can use to plan your trip aboard Valley Metro light rail or bus. This allows customers to load value to their account, whether that's their mobile account or their copper card, and then automatically earn daily, weekly, and monthly fare prices with SmartFare. Remember, SmartFare is the policy that now allows us to cap an individual's fare at whatever that daily pass, monthly pass, or a weekly pass would be. This is so important because many of our customers historically have paid cash or purchased one-ride tickets for their travel aboard Valley Metro. And if you're not positioned or choose not to outlay the expense of a monthly pass, then you're paying more per boarding if you're riding often enough. So now, once you hit that value over the course of the month, your account stops being charged. This is a wonderful benefit offered to our customers. We haven't been able to do SmartFare in the past because we haven't had a mechanism for tracking an individual's utilization aboard the system. Those rides are tracked when someone taps before they board Valley Metro Light Rail at a validator, or when they board bus at the fare box itself. The passes are now also being distributed through our third-party retail partners, of which there are many in communities across the valley, and we've taken great care to make sure that we have adequate geographic coverage, especially in communities that are not proximal to a light rail platform, where we have a ticket vending machine, and especially in some of our disadvantaged communities where we have higher proportions of individuals who are lower income or minorities. Our vendors today include Circle K, Albertsons, Safeway, and 20 different single stores, so smaller retailers throughout the valley, for a total of 250 unique retail locations. And in the first month, those 250 locations sold more than 2,000 copper cards. We're continuing to host pop-up events. This really is an all-hands-on-deck effort at transit centers, park rides, senior centers, and other community locations throughout the month of September, and we're going to continue this into the month of October. We've also been mailing our ADA and reduced fare platinum cards to our VIP customers. And to date, we have mailed over 2,600 cards to our ADA platinum pass holders, and over 5,000 applications for reduced fare have been processed. Almost half of those reduced fares have come from seniors or our very important citizens who are aged over 65. We're also continuing senior-specific engagement in communities. To date, we've conducted 16 different events. At these events, in addition to distributing fare media, we're also providing information regarding the ADA certification process, as well as an overview of our paratransit and ride choice programs. Speaking of paratransit and ride choice, we've been periodically providing updates on our paratransit and ride choice ridership. This is especially as important because we've seen ride choice grow in volume, and I want you to be aware of what that is looking like in terms of ridership trends. For the past year, we've seen paratransit ridership grow at a modest 1.78%, but that growth has been offset by tremendous growth in our ride choice program, which is up by more than 40% for the same period last year. When we look at the array of customers who are using our ADA services across communities, we see that many of those customers are able and would prefer to use a ride choice platform rather than an ADA paratransit. A little over 60% of our customers are ambulatory. That means they're not using a mobility device that would require the large vehicle and the lift that all of our paratransit vehicles are equipped with. So we're deploying different services, different types of vehicles so that we can best meet the needs of our customers and move toward having a more demand responsive, immediate service and source of mobility for customers regardless of their physical ability. We've also begun conducting mobile ADA assessments rather than having our ADA customers come to our mobility center at 44th Street in the city of Phoenix. We piloted this as a partnership with the city of Surprise. We ended up having to schedule a second event because of demand. And in total, we had 22 customers assessed. And I should mention that those customers are coming from communities across West Valley. We think that this is an important tool for us as we look at how we do ADA assessments in the future, which might include a mix of mobile assessments, on-site assessments at our 44th Street Mobility Center, and then reassessments that don't require a physical in-person visit for some of our customers who might not need it because their condition has not changed. Looking to our fixed route service, Valley Metro Bus and Valley Metro Rail, we have a service change coming up on October 28th. There's information in your packet about an extension of the 77 baseline, the 77 baseline route. We have been out in the field conducting surveys with customers, finding out about whether or not their trips work for them. We've got an express customer survey going on right now. And we've also been working with major employers, most notably the vendors at Sky Harbor Airport. We're making some changes to our Valley Metro Light Rail schedule on that date as well. And this is to add some short trips in the middle of the day, as well as add additional trips early in the morning at the beginning of service so that we can bring airport employees to Sky Harbor in advance of the beginning of our travel day at the time their shifts start. We're going to continue this engagement. This is ongoing. It never stops because we know that the mobility needs of our communities are changing rapidly. Over on the capital side, we are full speed ahead on the South Central Extension downtown hub. Today, we're at about 90% complete. The vast majority of the track has been laid. The concrete has been poured. We're also working on exterior roadway improvements. We've really transitioned from a heavy civil project to a largely electrical project. We've got work underway now at all 8 of our stations, our 2 park and ride lots. All of our traction power substations and signal building sites have been constructed. We're quickly beginning testing. We look forward to opening the South Central Extension for the community next year. We've also begun installing artwork, which is really one of the favorite parts of these construction projects for us. And it signals to the community that we're almost there. And now we can bring in those elements that celebrate the unique culture and spirit of each neighborhood surrounding those 8 stations. My favorite photo, this is a sunrise photo looking east. And this artist is Diego Perez, and this sculpture is Animalia. There are several more animals out at this station, and I just love it. If you have not had the opportunity, I encourage you to take a trip down south to Baseline to view these 8 unique stations.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Going back to the other presentations, I know that we were giving out grants to small businesses that were being impacted from the lane closures and because of, the rails being built. I know a lot of individuals in southern part of Phoenix have been experiencing a lot of issues or downtown. Just kind of wanted to know, do you happen to know, are we still doing grants for those businesses? Can they still apply? Has that closed? Do we know where we at on that?
Yeah, so that's our business assistance program. This is a program funded by the city of Phoenix. Valley Metro administers the program. To date, we've awarded over $1 million in grants to small businesses. $1 million is a lot considering the grants themselves are not very large and the businesses must be relatively small. We're continuing to make awards under the business assistance program. I really think this is a best in class effort. And what we have seen is while during construction, we've seen a global pandemic, heavy construction, a lot of impacts to the South Central community. The overwhelming majority of those businesses that were there when we began construction are still there today, and we aim to see them through the start of the project when the construction is gone. We also have other programs like an arts grant program. We awarded $75,000 in small grants to artists impacting the community. Think of things like murals at schools, live performances by dance troupes and mariachi bands in the corridor to enliven the culture and continue to see it thrive even during construction activities. And that's in addition to the artwork at the stations and along the corridor itself.
And we have that information available on the website. How do the other businesses know?
Yeah, we do have the information on business assistance available on our website, but we also have staff embedded throughout the corridor who maintain relationships with our small businesses so that they don't have to seek this out and find it. And so that staff is through Hillary Foos's communications team. And so we're out there. We've got a field office in the corridor itself where these team members are based.
Okay, so we're continuing to reach out to the businesses, even though some of the construction. Now, do they get, there's a method to it, right? Do they get more money if it's in high construction? Do they get less money, or is it just?
You know what, I'm going to invite Hillary Foos up to the podium to address the details of the award.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Happy to talk about our small business financial assistance program, a part of our larger business assistance program. The way the grants are distributed, there's two tiers. There's a $4,000 tier and there's an up to $9,000 tier. To get that second tier, that higher value, you have to show, I should say that the businesses we're focused on are small, locally owned, immediately adjacent to the construction, and they also have to have been there prior to the start of construction. Again, we're looking to make sure that those businesses continue and we can see them once we're into revenue service. And so the up to $9,000, there's a few more steps because we are using public dollars from the city of Phoenix. They have to show business impacts to their sales to be able to recoup that up to $9,000. The $4,000 tier one is very accessible. It's a very simple application requiring very limited information on behalf of the business. And again, they can apply each year. So we have a lot of repeat businesses year over year applying for either tier one or tier two.
So is that like a calendar year, or do they look at 12 months?
It's a program year. So when we started the program, it was in April. And so it's April through March. And so again, our team is out there, boots on the ground to assist the businesses when there is a new year and a new funding opportunity, and they continue to be out there today.
And is that accessible for Tempe and Mesa, or is it just for Phoenix?
So it's just for those businesses adjacent to light rail construction in the city of Phoenix. So the program has been active along our South Central Extension Downtown Hub project that Jessica just showed you, and was also active on our Northwest Extension Phase 2 that we opened in January.
Okay. I guess my only thoughts behind it, and I know we may or may not have much control over it, is that, you know, like the rents for businesses is so expensive. $4,000 may be just 1 month.
Right.
I guess I just would like to know, I would like to probably know, is that the 1 million is coming from Phoenix with specific guidelines?
Right.
Are we not matching that, or do we not have the ability to help match it or to extend it or to do more or less, or just share that?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, it is funded by two programs coming out of the city of Phoenix. Their Transportation 2050 dollars, as well as a PCDIC, which is a community development grant coming from the city of Phoenix. So all funding for this program is coming from the city, and we're very grateful for it. We were unable to use project dollars like for South Central Extension or a Northwest 2 because the federal, our federal requirements and governs that we can't use it for that particular purpose. So we weren't able to use some of the project funds that we used to build these extensions, which is why we went the local funding route, working through the city of Phoenix.
And we're continuing to look at other funding because, I just, because businesses are reaching out and they're asking like, hey, this is impacting my business.
Mhm.
And, obviously $4,000 is not a lot of money. $9,000 is probably maybe a little bit, but just kind of want to make sure there's some more dollars, or we're advocating or making sure we're looking into grants and other ways to help those businesses because they're being largely impacted. And 1 year for $4,000 seems to be rather low. But just want to make sure that we're consistently looking at trying to help those businesses so they don't close in the midst of doing something that's going to
Absolutely,
increase
absolutely.
traffic.
Mr. Chair, I'll say that we're coming to the tail end of South Central Extension. This program continues through the major construction, and then we will reassess the program as we think about building light rail in other communities. Certainly, we have expansion projects within the city of Phoenix, and so we will reassess the whole program to make sure that it's fitting the business's needs and tailored to the business needs of that particular community. And certainly more funding would be valuable. And we have looked and talked about maybe third party or private sector or other grants.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're reaching out to the local cities as well, like Tempe or Mesa, just getting them, getting their grant writers on board. Phoenix is already on board, so maybe there are some opportunities. So wherever the rail is going to touch, maybe we need to reach out to the local cities and ask them for support because they may have CBG funds and things of that nature. So,
Yes.
did any of my colleagues have any questions? Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do. Thank you for the additional information. So the boots on the ground that are basically embedded,
Mhm.
are they able to point businesses in the direction of maybe other grant
Yes.
opportunities? So, okay.
Yes. Mr. Chair, Councilmember Tonchoff. Yes, so we work closely with the city that we are working within, and the city offers many grant opportunities for small businesses, particularly coming out of the pandemic. There were several grant opportunities. And so our team was informed, working alongside the city and their resources, and we're actually helping businesses actively apply for other grants. Maybe even sitting there on a computer with them, helping them to apply. So yes, we are informed about the other opportunities, and we do make those available to the businesses as well and assist them as needed.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jessica, I have a question on the ADA. When you were going out to Surprise, are you rolling out to other cities? Because, people with ADA disabilities that are in Peoria can't necessarily get to Surprise. So are you going to different cities or having a website or something so that we can publish that out there to let people know where they can go out and do those assessments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Mayor Edwards. This was a pilot program. We were waiting to see how demand worked and how it went. We would be happy to partner with any of our member communities to support mobile assessments. I think it's a fantastic idea to leverage our member communities already great and accessible civic spaces to conduct these assessments. So if the city of Peoria were so interested, we would be happy to have a conversation. Please reach out to me and I'll introduce you to our accessible transportation staff that supported this event. Again, we are learning new and different ways to try and go to where our customers are and make it more accessible for those who need it. And it's like we had 2 Peoria residents at our August 26th event, but I'm sure we could get more if we were embedded within Peoria itself.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Chair Harris, the city of Goodyear has, or Vice Mayor Kano has a question.
Oh, Chair recognizes Vice Mayor.
Hi, this is Laura Kano, and I think my screen says it's the conference room, but I really appreciated the information on the Prop 479 polling. That's certainly very encouraging. While you were talking, we were looking at the website. I didn't see anything on the Valley Metro website, and I was just wondering if you were planning to put some educational material out there.
Chair recognizes
Well,
Council.
she's, I don't think they've answered.
Okay.
She's gonna answer that question. The conferring, as it's a proposition.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Kano, Mr. Chair, for that question. We currently don't have any information on the Valley Metro website. We've been trying to be very careful about our respective side of that line, if you will. I do know that so many of our member communities do have Prop 479 information on your sites, which is much appreciated. Perhaps we could put a small landing page linking back to other resources that are not our own. I think that would be, and I'm looking at our attorney, Mr. Walrow, here to ensure I'm staying on that right side of the line. But I think that is something that we can do. We appreciate that inquiry and suggestion.
To keep it right.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor Kano. I was going to ask the same question I mean, I don't know whether the guidelines for what Valley Metro is allowed to do is different than what cities are allowed to do, but we are allowed to educate. We are not allowed to advocate. So I think that absence of any information is a little bit far beyond what's required, unless I misunderstand that maybe Valley Metro's got, because I know I mean, I think most cities are providing information and just basic educational pieces that this is, there's all kinds of tidbits of information that would be relevant to educate the public on what is actually in this proposition. We're looking at a 4-page ballot this election cycle with lots of propositions. So any opportunities that we have in soundbite type media to educate the public is incredibly, and I mean, I know Prop 479 is polling well. I think we all understand that, but we still have a 4-page ballot to get through. So I don't know whether there's, some other requirements that Valley Metro has, but I also am wondering, why aren't we at least pushing out data information, the amount of money that's at stake for things like that, that provides real services to people that need in the community, not saying whether you should or shouldn't vote for it. This is just information. So are we not doing that, or?
We can do that. And I also think we've got other information on our website that we can link back to on that page. We have a wonderful quality of life report that demonstrates by the numbers the impact in terms of quality of life as well as economic development of the services Valley Metro provides. And then we could link back to other resources, including some of those of our member community. So we can do some things. I appreciate that nudge.
Okay, thank you.
We'll get to work very quickly on that, Council Member, Mr. Chair.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Max White. Councilmember.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Jessica. I would just like to admonish the team and encourage all of us to go back to our cities and our staff to ask them to make sure we have information. For example, if you go to www.avondale.gov/departments/cities/clerks/elections. On that page, you will see a pictorial, and that's a link. So hopefully you'll be able to have that link in there, Pat, for my Avondale residents. You'll be able to see a pictorial that will talk to you about what that half-cent sales tax does. Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to embarrass the city.
That was a lot of backslashes.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we got to make sure we get the information out there, because we're right. We're not allowed to advocate, but we do have to inform our public. And I think that's the most important part about it. Not only do we ask this of Valley Metro, but each of our member cities here, we need to make sure we go back and our cities have that on our websites. And we talked about that before in our Audit and Finance Committee meeting. But I think this is something, and this is the time and place for those who are at home to make sure it's done today. And if you need a site to reference, again, I can give it to you.
With a lot of backslashes.
There's a lot of backslash.
We want backslashes, not backlashes.
Correct. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna.
Just one thing to add, besides it being a 4-page ballot, this is going to be probably the next to last thing on the ballot. So what I'm gonna say to everybody in this room, go back to your family and friends and tell them to start at the end and go backwards, right? Everybody's gonna start at president and maybe only check that box and then stop and move away, because it's gonna be so overwhelming. So I'm gonna encourage everyone to go to the end and work backwards. And Gilbert will be adding a page to our Town of Gilbert page that will have information and education about Prop 479, but you can just go to a search bar and put in Prop 479, so you don't have to do backslashes. Councilmember White, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna call on Councilmember Jimmy Davis and go back to Councilmember Laura.
I might suggest that you also put some information on your social media platforms, because no one younger than me is looking at your website, just to let you know. I just followed your Instagram, by the way, so you do have one. So, yeah, definitely utilizing that platform. I think young people are especially engaged this time around. Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair,
Gonna-
Councilman David. Yes, we do have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're out there.
All right, Chair recognizes Laura, and then Ally is online.
Did you say Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you said Lauren or Laura. And
said
I'm holding Laura. Lauren, okay. I'm going to be holding a public meeting about Prop 479 and basically just to provide information. It's the same thing we would do if we had bonds on the ballot, that we would just educate our residents that exactly what's included, what's at stake for specifically voters in Glendale, voters throughout the county. So I would challenge everybody, if you have the opportunity to invite your most engaged residents to a public meeting. We're going to have our attorney there to make sure that we don't, do anything wrong. And we're just going to provide information, but fear is the enemy of progress. So don't be afraid to provide the information to the voters because, the alternative is devastating to the region. So don't be afraid to provide information and education. And in Glendale, we're holding a meeting. We're going to have residents. We're going to educate them and make sure that they understand what's included. Because to get, I don't know, the information, the election book, that's going to probably look like a phone book when it comes out. So it's really doubtful that people are going to read that. So I think we need to take it upon ourselves to provide information. To assume somebody's going to read, an election guide that's, this thick is not really realistic. So all we can do to educate people, I think, is, that's our charge as board members, as Valley Metro, as everybody, is to do our very best at every opportunity to educate the public. Thank you. And I was texted that MAG does have a Prop 479 page, so I'm sure you guys would be comfortable in at least using that link. So thank you.
Online, Ally. You're on mute. You're on mute. Take yourself off mute.
Sorry, I forget to do that. So first of all, two things on the Prop 479. Like Laurel, I have 2 community meetings this month because I wanted to get the information out before the ballots drop, since they'll probably drop in October, to the residents. And I utilized our InterGov, Jody Taz, to reach out to the Prop 479 folks. So they will be making the presentation instead of us, to make sure that it's separate and it's informational and not taking a side one way or the other. So that's something that I used for my community meetings. So I hope that if you haven't thought of doing that, they should be available to come and speak on behalf of Prop 479. And secondarily, I wanted to thank everyone from Valley Metro who came out to do the offsite pilot program to see if anyone would come to a meeting if we offered a way to get certified. We did have folks, not just from Peoria, but we had folks from Goodyear and Avondale and all around town. And the original plan was that we would have something mobilized on the west side of town, going to different cities at different times of the month or quarter, so that we could all share in the benefit. And so we volunteered to go first. And the sign up was so overwhelming on the first day that they put in a second day. So thank you to Valley Metro for listening to this crazy idea of doing something on the west side, so folks don't have to go all the way to Phoenix or Tempe to get certified. And I think as each individual city makes space available, that it's something that we can all use in all of our west side cities for our residents who may want to be able to take advantage, particularly of ride choice. I was really excited to see that go up 40%. It's gone up more than 40% in Surprise. But again, making sure that people have access to transportation where you may or may not have a bus line that's available for them. And we don't have buses other than the flyer that goes down to Phoenix in the morning out in the area of Surprise. So it was an overwhelmingly positive thing. The people who came out did a great job. And I'm really thankful that Valley Metro was able to support that idea and see that if you build it, they will come, the residents will come to those events. So thank you very much for putting that together for us, and I hope to have the city of Surprise participate with any other city that's doing it close to us so that our residents can get certified. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your support, Councilmember Klein.
Absolutely. I just want to add to the record that Councilmember Pastor just wanted to weigh in on the 479. She said that we can educate and inform. So I want to make sure that we add that to the meeting notes. All right, keep going.
All right, I've got a few more updates for you. As part of the important services that Valley Metro delivers to the community, we are a regional commute solutions entity. So that means that not only do we operate our regional van pool, we also connect commuters with carpool programs. We also help people find safe paths to work who are biking and walking. Together, we get together once a year at our annual Clean Air Campaign lunch, and you should have received an invitation in the mail, board members. And this is Wednesday, October 30th. And at this luncheon, we celebrate our clean air champions. These are people who are taking transit to work every day or most days, or who have developed lifelong friendships as part of their van pool program, or made positive impacts on their personal health and life by biking to work, sometimes over very long distances over a period of many years. This is a wonderful event. If you'd like to attend, please do reach out to Pat, and we'll ensure that we've got space for you at that event. We also, for the first time, participated in the Arizona Cities and Towns Showcase of Cities last month. What an event that was. Boy, you cities know how to celebrate. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but it was such a wonderful event, and each city brought their unique character. They celebrated their local economies, their cultures, their businesses, and we were pleased to participate in that. So when the League of Cities and Towns Showcase comes back to the Phoenix region, we'll participate in that again. But I did so enjoy encountering many of you at that event. We aim to be embedded in the communities and right there with you. You know, Valley Metro's marketing and communications team does a fantastic job promoting our services and providing connections to communities. And when we hosted Super Bowl 57 back in 2023, really another all hands on deck effort to make sure we were moving people efficiently and offered a fantastic service, and we certainly excelled at that. The American Public Transit Association has a very coveted program for marketing, communications, and customer service. And for the first time ever this year, we won the Grand Award for Marketing, Communications, and Customer Service from APTA for our Super Bowl marketing campaign. So we'll be there with our colleagues at APTA's annual conference in early October to accept this award. So I congratulate Hillary Foos and her marketing and communications teams for promoting this effort. And as ever, I am grateful for the steadfast work of the entire Valley Metro team who made the service happen over that week in 2023. Well done. Not to be outdone, our capital and service development and our contract partners were recognized with 2 awards from Engineering News Record for the Northwest Phase 2 Light Rail Extension, including the Airport Transit Best Project and the Excellence and Safety Best Project. This adds to awards we've already received for the incredibly innovative, beautiful project that is the Northwest Extension Phase 2. So it also sets us up to be competitive with our South Central project so that we can rack up the awards and honors for that as well. For our October cycle, I want to take a note that we do not have, and I did confer with Chair Harris, we will not have a joint meeting or an RPTA meeting in the October cycle. It'll be a Valley Metro Rail meeting. All of the items on there was one additional item added to the agenda today that would have otherwise been in October. So any board members are welcome to participate in that Valley Metro board meeting on October 17th. It's just Valley Metro Rail board members that are permitted to vote on agenda items. So do take note of that, and we'll be communicating that with city staff as well. We'll be back in November, and we're sure to have a full agenda since we won't have had an October cycle. So our November joint boards meeting is November 21st. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Thank you. Just wanted to take a moment. All the awards that we're winning, I wanted to take time to acknowledge Jessica Miller, who just received the AZ Business Most Influential Woman in Arizona of 2024 award. you see, she continues to perform and do her job very, very well at a very high level. We couldn't be more proud of what you're doing, how you're moving the needle forward for so many people and our community residents and my constituents. I think all our constituents can say we really appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that award is a testament to the important work and the impact that Valley Metro is having in communities across Maricopa County.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, we'll move it on. I'm going to call on Councilmember Max White to give us the Audit and Finance Subcommittee update.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would like to report on the Audit and Finance Subcommittee meeting. We hosted that on Thursday, September 5th. Our committee welcomes Councilmember Peggy McMahon representing Fountain Hills and Councilmember Jimmy Davis representing the City of Tullison. During our meeting, we received the Chief Financial Officer's update provided for information regarding the Public Transportation Fund and the Regional Maricopa County Transportation Sales Tax Report. During our meeting, we accepted the AFS results from the Conflict of Interest Oversight Audit. We also took action and accepted the results from the Procurement Process Review. AFS approved the FY25 Internal Audit Plan, and our next AFS meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. Any questions or concerns that you may have, our Chief Financial Officer and Chief Auditor are available offline to take any questions. I want to ask Madam CEO if our meeting on the 3rd is too soon. I know a lot of financial data does not come out until about a week after the end of the month. And so if the CFO and CAO would like to adjust the meeting time and date, I know that we don't have, we have a little bit more time and flexibility in October. Since we are not going to have our full board meeting, we might want to wait till the numbers are available so that we can have something to review. It could be taken for consideration.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Let me confer with Ken Kessler, Chief Financial Officer, and also Sabrina Beckstrom, Chief Audit Officer, on whether pushing that date back will allow us to provide more information. We most certainly won't have our September actuals in at that point. So you're right, this does give us some flexibility. May I get back with you on that?
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Councilmember, for that report, Max White for the report. Next is our consent agenda. You guys have had time to look at the consent agenda for items 4A through 4F. A motion would be in line.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Who's second?
Peggy and Lauren, I think.
Okay, Councilmember Peggy McMahon, second.
Heard it from that side.
Councilmember White motioned it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I guess I'm supposed to say any discussion before that, but if there is, let me know. Too late. All right, it's passed. Moving on. Next on the agenda is travel expenditures. It doesn't look like there's any. Is there any questions about travel expenditures? Anything out there? Okay, moving on to the next one, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. I would like to add for the November or December meeting to discuss more about the grants, how that work. I would like a presentation on that. And also I would like in that presentation, what businesses may have received grants. And then if there is any wiggle room, I would like more details about how that works and what we've done and how long have the program been in existence and just kind of a little bit more information about that and how we're servicing that community. So I would like to see that for a later, either November or December meeting, November or January meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
may I add on to your request?
Yeah.
Because we were just discussing too, I'm not sure what the status is, but I know Valley Metro along with all of our cities received our ARPA money, and I can't remember what the name of the first batch of federal funds were. And I don't know whether any of that is still remains available. And I don't know if any of that would be eligible to be like a pass-through Valley Metro to some of these businesses, but that may be an opportunity where that money actually was to help. Any, you know, because the project began during COVID also, which was kind of a double whammy for those businesses down there. So I don't know whether that's a possibility, but I wanted to, maybe you could mix that in with what our chair asked for. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tomolchak, Mr. Chair. I can report out on ARPA. In decisions made through the member communities, the ARPA funds were actually expended relatively quickly. And in fact, those funds were completely expended before I arrived here in early 2022. Yeah, I believe they offset city expenditures for operations and maintenance during that time period.
Councilmember.
Thank you so much, Chair. I am interested in learning, and this might be a presentation for the board, or this might be information you can provide directly to the member cities and towns, information on what do we do what is the end-to-end for ADA? What does it look like bringing that policy together? Knowing that in 1991, before I started my professional career, Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law by the first President Bush. And knowing that now there are quite a bit of concerns, it sounds like, for the end user. And I know that we have a great plan in place as an agency. I know that we're doing the right thing with our partners, Keolis. But as a disabled human, what if I step out to a bus stop? What does that end-to-end process look like for me? And what should I be doing if I'm not getting the service that I need from our fixed route buses? I think it'd be great for us to understand kind of what that looks like end to end, and then identify any opportunities. There might be a presentation required, there may not be. But it'd be great information. I think we as a board have heard numerous ADA concerns, and we know the work you're doing in the trenches, and we know you're accomplishing big things. But if the end users are still saying that that doesn't hit home for them, I'm very concerned. Additionally, I would again like to recognize our CEO. When we were at that influential Women of Arizona award ceremony, I had the opportunity to connect one of my other favorite CEOs, leaders in the Valley, the president of the Phoenix International Raceway, Latasha Kowsey. And so I just want to encourage any type of partnership. Hopefully you guys will be able to connect offline. Transit is transit, and where the wheels go round. We should try and look for a way to kind of bring it together, right? You know, when I sit out in Avondale, we're looking at opening up We Ride services on Saturdays. That's something I'd like to share with you guys in November. But you never know. I mean, we might be able to form partnerships in the future that might kind of, you know, take the hassle of driving down to our racetrack away during that time of the year. And I know we were able to provide that for the Super Bowl and make sure that there was additional transit. But we get NASCAR twice a year. We get the Super Bowl how many times? Okay. So we want to look at those groups that are bringing things to us and bring things to them. So if NASCAR is here in March and in November, maybe we can try and offer enhanced travel services like we did for Super Bowl. And it might become award winning. We might open doors to let people see and recognize how much we're doing in the community. I am now off of my soapbox. Thank you, Chair. And yes, our championship race is going to be this November.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Cool. All right. Well, next meeting is set for November the 21st. You have the marching orders for the next meeting, for the next presentations in the fall in November or January, depending on how much information you get done.
We're not doing it separate, sorry. You keep saying November, January.
So no, we generally take December off, so there'll be no board meeting cycle for December. So we will hit items for November and then we'll back in January.
Today will be my last meeting with you then.
No, wait a minute, November.
I have to miss
21st.
November. We have a retreat and I have to miss November.
Oh, man.
Like you threw yourself under the bus.
I know, I did. I threw myself under the bus. Lauren was gonna.
Come to the October 17th, we have something special for you.
There's no.
Please.
Thing.
Well, there
There's no-
is Valley.
Oh, the rail.
Yeah. Come on down to the rails. We're gonna work this offline.
We're over.
Not a big deal. I just wanted to make.
We'll be missed.
All right, well, that concludes this meeting. All right, we'll add to the next one, the Valley Metro RPTA Board of Directors meeting. Welcome all the board members. Do we need another roll call, Pat? All right, thank you. The consent agenda is presented for action. A request for motion and second to approve the consent agenda for
Chair.
items 1A.
I would like to request that we pull item 1C, October 2024 service changes. Our CEO gave us some highlights, but I think a lot of what one of our former community speakers used to share with us is going to be available here. If we could just hear a brief report on item 1C. Otherwise, I move we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
So 1C has been pulled for later, or what are we doing with that? Are we going to move it to action or for a conversation today, or we're going to?
We will take it separately after you complete this vote, and then staff will be able to provide information or
Okay.
answer questions.
So we're moving 1C to action.
Yeah.
All right,
A
thank you.
separate action, yes.
All right, there's been a motion, and is there a second? All right, Vice Mayor Monica seconded. Any discussion? Shouldn't be any for that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Let's move to 1C for action. Go ahead, Jessica.
If I may, thank you, Councilmember White, members of the board. I'd like to provide a brief update on the October 28th service change. Should you have very detailed questions, I'm going to call upon Aaron Xavier, our Manager of Service Planning. We have, per our service standards, a twice annual service change process. Historically, the service change process has been relatively, I would call it quiet. We're making adjustments to running time, the end-to-end travel time on bus routes, occasional updates to our train schedules and running time. Also changes to allow for connectivity. In this instance, there's a physical route change. It's an extension of our number 57 baseline road. So this is moving, today we terminate at 75th Avenue. Now we'll be shifting west to the Gila River Indian Community Service Center at 83rd Avenue, looping south to Dobbins and then back north to Baseline. So this is a physical extension. Now the service change, here's the service change process now. And then I want to do a little foreshadowing about where we're going in the future. Now we're monitoring the service. We've acquired some new tools too. We've been talking about it in this room. We've got tools like Swiftly, which we've also made available to our member city staff that are allowing us to monitor things like our running time and our on-time performance in real time. We're also looking at ridership through a more granular lens so that we know when and where we are and are not picking passengers up. This is going to give us more and better information. In the future, I see us making more adjustments, not for the sake of making adjustments to the system just because we can, but to get the service better attuned with how, when, and where people are actually traveling and how the service itself is performing. It has been, in my experience, a system relatively unexamined over time. Whether or not we'll have more service changes throughout the year remains to be seen. These two service changes are something that is codified in the collective bargaining agreements that our contractors have with Amalgamated Transit Union. In this instance, this is the opportunity for the operators to pick we call it their run. So what route and what schedule they're going to be operating for roughly a 6-month period. So we can't do it all of the time. But we do have some control over what we change. And that outreach I described earlier today that we're doing with airport concessionaires, it's something relatively new. We have programmed through our market research budget as well. This was included in the FY25 operating budget, additional resources to do more surveys with businesses and consumers so that we can get more and better information about where they're traveling. We're also soon to conduct at last our comprehensive operational analysis. This is an active RFP. Our proposals are due later this month. We're going to be coming back to this body in January to request your approval of a contract award that's going to allow us to work together with our member communities, MAG and contract staff to evaluate the entire on-street system and identify possible improvements that could be implemented all at once, or perhaps more likely over time, to make the system work better for our travelers. And then once we implement that comprehensive operational analysis, we can't leave it alone. We've got to keep monitoring ridership, customer experience, what's working and not working with the routes, the schedules, how we deliver service, everything like operator behavior. We heard from Ms. Candace earlier about the operator not nailing the bus. This is something we take very seriously. I want to applaud our transportation team. You may or may not be aware of this, but we are working every single day to monitor how the service is going. We've got morning stand-up calls with bus, with paratransit, and with rail. So we know what customer complaints we got yesterday, what the customers said, what are we doing about it, what our on-time performance was, did we miss any trips, and if so, why, and what are we doing about that? We're communicating that with our city staff. We have monthly sub-regional meetings focused on bus and paratransit, and then a quarterly rail meeting with member city communities where we're pushing out very detailed performance, talking about what we can do together to drive increases in performance, and we're seeing positive results. It's taken time. It's going to take more time still, but we're seeing ridership climb. We're seeing on-time performance climb. We're seeing finally in most markets a decline in negative customer contacts, but we do still need to make the service work better for our constituents. That was kind of a loquacious answer to that question about what the service change process is. But Councilmember White, have I answered your question, or do you want more details about October 28th?
I really appreciate the answer. It was very detailed. And anytime we're going further west with what we're able to do, and this is a route that kind of hits a bit of that rural western Arizona, but it's still in the valley. It's still a metro area. I'm just so excited that we're going to be touching the Gila River Indian Community District 7 Service Center and being able to have transit out there. So I just want to commend Valley Metro for being able to do that, and also this board for making sure that we're continuing to forge west. Thank you very much. And I would like to move that we accept item 1C.
Second.
It's fast.
You guys are really fast. All right, there's been a first motion by Councilmember White and a second by who?
Lauren.
Lauren. I second down there.
Hello,
at the
Mr.
end.
Chair.
She's down there at the end. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Thank you, online, I got you. All right, with that being said, report on any current events. Any current events, anyone? All right, the next meeting is set for Thursday, November 21st, 2024 at 11:15 a.m. Thank you guys for your time. All right, Vice Mayor Heredia, it's your turn.
All right. So we'll take maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes.
I think, Pat, let me know when we can start.
Up with a runoff in the general election.
Frankie, let us know whenever you're ready, Frankie. I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Okay, I was just waiting for Pat, so I don't see Pat, but
Okay.
we can get started then if we're good to go.
Okay. And we have Jesus Sapien sitting in for Councilmember Pastor.
All right, perfect. We
He's sitting
got a
next to me.
quorum. Okay, perfect. Why don't we convene the meeting? Valley Metro Rail Board. First item is a consent agenda. It's presented for action. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
None.
All right, hearing none, I request a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to
Motion.
approve?
All right,
Vice
we got
Mayor.
Jesus motion and then Vice Mayor Harris second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2, Kinkashario Light Rail Vehicle Propulsion System Contract Award. Jessica?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have an item before you for a not to exceed amount of $7,142,880. This item is for a single source procurement with Siemens. The issue at hand is that we do have a propulsion system on the original light rail vehicles. This is our Kinky Shero fleet. And the propulsion system will become obsolete. Normally, we could replace that or repair it. The cost for replacing it, we did conduct an analysis, staff spent several months working on this, and we found that the cost for actually replacing the units would be about $16 million, whereas the cost for actually repairing and replacing parts would be a little over $7 million. We need to take this action now because this particular system is obsolete and Siemens actually has a supply of parts that we would need. Those parts will not be manufactured again. It's a limited series. Only Sound Transit in Seattle and Valley Metro actually have these particular Kinky Shero cars with this propulsion system. So it's financially advantageous for us to purchase those parts now and then make those repairs and upgrade over time. I hope that answers any questions the board may have. I'm happy to answer additional questions. And Darren Curry, Rob Rosenberg, our Deputy Chief of Rail System Maintenance is here.
I do have a question, Jessica. Is it the older vehicles that are have this propulsion system, and the more newer vehicles that we've purchased have the newer systems?
Rob, do you want to address the difference in propulsion systems and the?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The newer vehicles we're buying, the newer light rail vehicles we're buying have a different propulsion system that's not affected by this obsolescence. So this purchase really is to maintain the original fleet of Kinky Shero LRVs.
And how many of those?
Those are 49.
49. And how many total with these and the newer vehicles?
With these and the newer vehicles that we're still procuring, we'll have a total of 74.
Okay. So more than half have this propulsion system.
Yes, 2/3 roughly.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, hearing none, request a motion and a second to authorize the CEO to execute a 3-year Valley Metro contract with Siemens Mobility for Elan propulsion systems in an amount not to exceed over $7 million for the period of October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2027. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3, any reports on current events or future agenda items? Hearing none, we will meet next time on October 17th, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your time today.
Thank you.